Hi, I'm Andrew Holzman. I work at Family Tree Counseling Associates in Carmel, Indiana. My phone number is 317-457-8668, or you can reach me at aholzman2 at comcast.net. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, work with couples, individuals, and families. I did a blog last week, and we do a blast of our blogs and videos, but this one has gotten a few responses, so I wanted to make it into a video as well. And I'm calling this family time. And family time, whether it's a birthday or an anniversary or a holiday or Christmas or whatever family time that you're having, there's the expectation of fun or the expectation of pain, depending on what side of the family you're on or what relationship you have with your parents and family itself. So the expectation of fun, the dread of what might happen, the concern if your spouse will enjoy themselves or your family will enjoy them is really dependent a lot on the relationships that have been formed before, of course. And you may have strong expectations that your spouse will get along or be like your family. Sometimes families are very, very close, and the person who you're with may not be from such a close family, or vice versa. Sometimes families are not so close and they're more cut off or disconnected or individuated even, and you're used to very close family, a hugging family, a family that jibes with each other or kind of is sarcastic or enjoys each other. And if your family, spouse's family, is different than your family, of course, that creates some issues. And the issues may be that you don't want to be around that family. You don't want to deal with the issues that come up in that family if there's a lot of criticism or issues that come up and they talk about it and you're used to a family that doesn't talk, or vice versa. If you want to discuss things and there's just a simmering pot of issues that don't get talked about, that would be difficult for you as well. So depression, anxiety, they get thrown into the mix in the reality of family gatherings. Family patterns emerge, how you're going to handle things, how they should go, how your spouse handles themselves. Issues of too much closeness and too much separateness emerge. Usually these patterns are pretty ingrained, so they're part of who we are and part of the way we see life and the way we see how things should be. And of course, these issues work out themselves in your relationship. So when you're around family, they're even greater. I mean, who doesn't feel like a little kid when they're around their family at holiday time? You go home and you're around your siblings and you start acting like you're a teenager or a 6-year-old again, or you act around your parents, your individuation and your strength, and you're the CEO of a company or you're a professional, and all of a sudden you're a little kid and you're being dependent again. And those things seem to be fairly normal, that we just regress a bit when we're around our family, our parents, our family of origin. And there you have your spouse being thrown into this mix, and they have their own patterns, and their patterns may or may not be jibing with your family's patterns. So a lot of times a spouse will choose not to be around. I mean, the choices are: you go and you're upset and you're keeping your feelings in, or you don't go at all, or you somehow are able to work out those issues and be present in that family. Your How you're feeling about how your spouse is doing, given that, maybe their quietness that they usually portray is not so difficult when you're home, but around your family it bubbles up even greater, or the talkativeness that they show at home may bubble up, in ways that you're feeling like they're talking too much, or they're being too triangling about issues and problems that you prefer to keep secret. So triangling is when you're talking to somebody about an issue that you have with them, and you're talking to somebody else. So someone who's a woman who's very close to her mother, or a guy who's very close to his mother or father, or vice, whichever way that works, or a brother or sister may confide in that person, and you may feel betrayed, may feel left out. So I think there's always seems to be one side of the family that is problematic for the couple. Sometimes for many wounded individuals, or competitive individuals, it's both sides of the family. So for the wounded individual, I don't like mine, so I'm not going to trust yours. And the competitive individual, I won't enjoy or visit yours since you give me a hard time about visiting mine. So there's a competition there. Often it's not talked about. Sometimes for both couples, it's a drawn out issue where there's fights and hurt feelings. And whenever there's a family visit or a family trip to the other person's family, it becomes a big deal. Couples seem to handle the visits in several possible ways. Like I said, for some couples, they enjoy the interaction with their partner's family, sometimes even more than their own family. Sometimes it's a relief. If you had a very dysfunctional family and you're healthy enough to see the functionality or the presumed functionality in your partner's family, you might love their family and enjoy it very much. So I've even talked to divorced couples where they miss the family of their divorced spouse more than they miss their spouse because they were so close to that family. So some couples get along with both sides or decided how to handle the variables of closeness and distance, because closeness and distance are big issues in every couple's life. Everyone deals with closeness in a different way than their partner does. So if I want to be close to my partner and it feels, comfortable to be this close, and my partner feels it's comfortable to be this close, that's going to be an issue in the relationship. And there's always this dance between couples, excuse me, about how close and how much individuation, how much individuality, how much time alone, how much time together is appropriate for this couple. And that just is part of what you learn in your family of origin. So going to visit the family of origin will bring up those issues even more so, of course. So many couples, though, encounter stress in balancing couplehood and extended family. For those who see their partner's family differently, and it challenges their long-held beliefs and patterns that they've established, and other patterns emerge. Either they're, like I said, battling about it, never seeing or validating the other's pain. So if I'm stressed out about visiting my partner's family, my wife's family, then I may keep it in and we won't talk about it, and I'll just go and be miserable, or I'll sulk or act out, or I won't go at all. The battle sometimes that people have before this happens creates a lot of pain of having to defend your family, even if you don't like them so much. Sometimes it's kind of the issue of, I can talk about my family, but I don't want you to talk about it. So you have to defend your family, and the confusion as to why your spouse acts in ways that make it difficult. If your partner is not acting like you expect them to, or actually how they always have acted, but it kind of gets brought up so much stronger in this situation, and they act differently than you're used to family members acting, even if you're not aware of it. Even if you want distance from your family and your partner wants distance, but the family is very enmeshing, or the family is the opposite, very distant, and this person wants to be close, like I was saying before. So it's kind of the opposites attract, and you're comfortable with what you found in your partner to some extent, but then the negative issues about that, because you're used to your family's way of doing things. And if you're used to your family's way of doing things, even if you didn't like it too much, it brings up strong feelings. And if you are unaware of those feelings and you don't know how to deal with those feelings very well, it creates big arguments and big issues. So like I said, the battle creates the pain of having to defend the family, and the confusion as to why your spouse acts in ways that make it difficult for them to enjoy your wonderful family, or conversely, having to explain why you're feeling excluded from the other families other family, and regardless of how much you try, they won't accept you. That's the issue of, I'm doing this wonderful reaching out, and I'm talking, and I'm being appropriate, and my family just excludes me. And my family, the other family doesn't make me feel welcome. And I'm really trying. And you may be trying, or you maybe think you're trying, but you're trying in a way that doesn't work, and they don't really want you in there. Maybe they have issue with you that they can't express. So that's a difficult situation, of course, too, and that would lead to arguments or lead to not wanting to go anymore because you're always being abandoned and excluded. So sometimes it's, even if the person whose family it is has been excluded, it's hard for them to understand why you're not happy going to visit the family. It's a very complex situation because it's what the family that you're used to, and you're used to the way they're acting, even it's hurtful and dysfunctional and excluding. So a partner may say nothing, go to the family, quietly resent it, like I said, pout, passively act out their anger at a later time. This results in making the other partner pay for their inability to say no. So one partner may go and visit the family and be upset about it, and then they're going to pout and they're going to act out, and the other partner has to deal with that they just couldn't say, I just don't want to visit the family, I feel excluded. And that might create, of course, an argument or a discussion, but it's at least direct. So the person who goes and doesn't say no acts out their feelings because they're trying to do the right thing. I'm going to go to your family because that's the right thing to do, and it creates misery in the end for both people because of a passive aggressive behavior or indirect behavior that kind of comes to the fore later on. Another choice is to give up the fight and see the family separately. A lot of couples do this. Effectively, they split up during the time when they could repair some real primal family of origin hurt. This couple is tired of fighting, and often it's not just for the issues of family, but in issues in their marriage and their connection to each other. So it doesn't mean that seeing the family separately sometimes is a bad thing. I'm talking about a couple that does this always. And so they just spend all their times separate on these weekends during holiday season or birthday season, or times when there could be some kind of connection to that other family. They're just giving up, and they're just not spending that time with the other person and their family. So I think that's indicative of other issues in their relationship where they've really given up trying to be intimate on many levels. So, like, the other person's family will never be like yours, even if you were uncomfortable, rejected, or out of place in your family of origin. It was still what you knew and what you know. It's hard to, even if your family is gone, even if your parents are gone, it's in you, and it's what you know, and it's how you act. And so if you're from an enmeshing family, a very close, overly close family, that's going to be your pattern on some level. And if you're from a very distant family, a secretive family, a family that shuts down, that's going to be a pattern in some way. And it's in you. And it's going to be transmitted to your kids, and it's going to be transmitted to your spouse. It's going to be part of who you are unless you're cognizant, aware of what you're doing and how it was damaging to you as a kid or is damaging to you now. So it's hard to psychically and emotionally reject what felt correct, even if you think you've put it behind you, and sometimes especially even if you think you've put it behind you. If you think you've put it behind you, but you have just done it in terms of cutting off from that family, disconnecting from that family, not talking to your brothers and sisters or your parents anymore, that is still part of what you're dealing with because you're actively working at being distant, and that's not real individuation. Real individuation is kind of dealing with, or not kind of, but dealing with your feelings about this, whether it's in therapy with, even if your parents are gone, or even if you don't have much family, to deal with what's inside of you. So it's not about physical distance, it's about emotional distance and individuation and working things out. Being able to work things out is an internal thing. So if you may think you've put it behind you because you don't see them anymore, you don't deal with it, well, you're not dealing with it, and it's going to come up in some other way with your couple, with your partner rather, in the couple. Um, in some parts of your life, you're just going to deal with these unresolved feelings. Okay, and so it can be harder sometimes, even if you felt comfortable in your family of origin. Why is the person that you love not getting it? Why are they being difficult because your family was so wonderful? It's easy to blame your partner, and it creates a rift. So your partner doesn't see the beauty and the loveliness and the closeness of your family or the strength of your family, and so they don't get it. They don't get it because they're from a different kind of family. And so it's easy to blame each other and shame each other and create all kinds of issues in that relationship because you felt so good about your family. And to some degree, it's like the person who says we had the Beaver Cleaver family. That's something you hear a lot, of the Brady Bunch family. Well, people can have good families, of course, but no family is without some level of issues and relationship pain, things that come up. Even if your parents are still married after 50 years, they've worked a lot of things out. They've worked it out, hopefully in healthy ways, but they had to work it out. And you may not have seen them working it out, and you may think it's normal the way you were treated. Even if you were emotionally or physically abused, it may feel normal to you because that's what you knew. And even if it was something not as obvious as abuse, you're still going to have some kind of psychic, emotional pain or issue from your family of origin. Too much closeness, too much distance, too much shame, too much control, not being able, not allowing you to strike out on your own or being too controlling. Those are issues that come up in everyone's family. And so just being aware of that your family was imperfect or that your partner's family was imperfect is helpful. It doesn't mean that it changes things automatically, but it's helpful in terms of not being so up on your high horse about how great your family was. So distance and enmeshment of culprits, shame, control, rejection are all issues that both partners may be dealing with even when they're unaware of them. Too much abandonment or too much closeness will result in seeing your family in unrealistic ways, just like what I was talking about. Awareness of your family of origin patterns and the ability to not act out those patterns or take on and be responsible for your partner's emotional pain is a key in a healthy relationship. The enmeshment or distance in your family or in your partner's family will create feelings. Just what I was talking about. Feelings should be discussed and not used as a club against closeness and flexibility. Flexibility, adaptability is the key here, that if you're aware of what went on in your family and what goes on even in your partner's family, then you have the ability to say some things in a way that is not rigid, is not stunted, is not just, this is the way it was done and I have to be this way. So awareness of your own feelings and behaviors in potentially explosive situations can go a long way to reducing stress and arguments. Real connection involves a difficult balance of intimacy and independence. Family issues can challenge that balance, but awareness and healthy actions and adaptability make a big difference. So thank you for listening to my video about issues in your family. Again, my name is Andrew Holzman. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. My number, if you wish to contact me, is 317-457-8668, or you can contact me at aholzman, Holzman 2 at Comcast.net. I work at Family Tree Counseling Associates, and I'd be happy to take your call or take your email. Thank you so much.